Hi guys, it's Mrs. Gifford, and this is lesson 6.10 from our math book. Before I get to the lesson, I'm going to start out with a little joke, but I'm not going to give you the answer until later on in the video, so you'll have to watch the whole thing, okay? Okay, first part of the joke is, why did the student eat his homework? Why did the student eat his homework? Kind of weird. We'll see the answer later on in this video, so watch for it. All right, so this lesson is where we are going to be reviewing some more two-step word problems. I know that these can be a little bit tricky, and so it's great that we get this opportunity to just keep practicing them, because the more that we practice, the better we're going to get. Okay, so let's start with one. So this says, a bagel shop sold 237 bagels on Monday. They sold 47 plain bagels and 52 blueberry bagels. The rest of the bagels sold were cinnamon. How many cinnamon bagels did the shop sell? All this bagel talk is making me hungry. But go ahead and pause the video if you need to and try to figure out how you could solve this problem on your own. Okay, pause it now. All right, hopefully you paused that video and figured out how you could solve this problem. Now, what I want to ask you is, did you do two separate equations, or did you write out one bigger equation that has two steps in it? There's different ways that you could do this, and I'm going to show you how you can solve this problem with just one longer equation. Okay, so a bagel shop sold 237 bagels on Monday. Okay, so that's the total number of bagels that were sold, right? It helps if you kind of walk through, kind of picture what the situation is in the problem. If you need to read it a couple of times, I highly recommend doing that. So, bagel shop sold 237 bagels on Monday. That's the total. I'm going to just write that down here. 237. They sold 47 plain bagels and 52 blueberry bagels. The rest of the bagels sold were cinnamon. How many cinnamon bagels did the shop sell? So out of that 237, I know if I kind of like make a little math mountain or a visual that helps me figure this out, I don't know how many cinnamon bagels were sold, but I do know that 52 blueberry bagels were sold and 47 plain bagels were sold. Now I could just do 237 minus 47 and then also subtract 52 from that number, and some of you might have done that if you solved this problem on your own. But there's another way that we could do this. Instead of subtracting one number and then subtracting the other one, I could do 237 minus 47 plus 52. Because if I solve for what is in the parentheses first, because remember, we always solve what's in the parentheses first, that's going to tell me how many bagels that were sold were not cinnamon, right? So there are 47 plain, 52 blueberry. If I add that up, that gives me the total of how many bagels were not cinnamon. So let's do that off to the side. I'm going to stack them on top of each other. 47 plus 52. And I'm going to solve that. 7 plus 2 is 9. 4 plus 5 is also 9. So my answer here is 99. And then now, all I have to do is 237 minus 99. So I'm going to do that over here on this side of my board. I'm kind of running out of room, but we're going to work with it. Okay, so 237 minus 99. Ooh, and this will give us a good review of how we subtract and ungroup as we're subtracting. So 7 minus 9, kind of tricky to do, right? So I need to ungroup from the tens place, leaving 2 10s left, putting 10 more into the ones place. So now I have 17 minus 9, which is 8. And then I'm going to go to my tens place. 2 minus 9, that's kind of tricky to do. So I can ungroup from my hundreds place, leaving 100 left in the hundreds place, and then putting 10 more tens into the tens place. So now I can do 12 tens minus 9 tens, which is 3. And then 1 minus 0 is just 1. So if they sold a total of 237 bagels, 47 were plain, 52 were blueberries. That means that 138 of them were cinnamon. And we've solved our problem. Congratulations, you guys. All right, you guys have been pretty patient and been working pretty hard with that last problem, so I'm going to give you the answer to the joke. So remember the question was, why did the student eat his homework? The answer is because his teacher said it was a piece of cake. All right, so we practiced one two-step problem that had to do with some addition and using some subtraction. But as you probably know, we can use all 4 operations when doing two-step problems. We can do multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So we're going to look at another one that might use something other than addition and subtraction. So let's read it. So it says, Carrie played a video game and scored 20 points 7 times and 55 points 1 time. How many points did Carrie score? All right, if you need to take a second, pause the video and try to think and figure out how you would solve this problem. All right, welcome back. I hope you took the time to try to solve this problem. So the first step that I would take in trying to solve this problem, after I read it a couple of times and really know what it's asking, is I would try to figure out how many points she scored these 7 times. So she scored 20 points 7 times. So I could just add up 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20 7 times. I could do that repeated addition, but what's another way or another word for repeated addition? Multiplication. So I'm going to start out by doing 20 times 7. So that's going to give us how many points she scored that 7 times, right? But we want to know how many points she scored overall, right? So then we also have that 55 points that she scored 1 time. Now, I could use multiplication to figure that out, 55 times 1, but what's that going to give me? Anything times 1 is itself. So 55 times 1 is still just 55. So what I could do is I could just add that score on to what I find here. So I'm just going to do plus 55. Now, do I need parentheses around any of this? No, because according to PEMDAS, P-E-M-D-A-S, parentheses would go first. If we don't have any parentheses, we would do exponents, which we haven't learned about yet, so we're not going to worry about it. And then we would go to multiplication or division, and we would do our multiplication first, which works out with what we're doing right here today. So we don't need any parentheses in this problem. So let's start figuring it out. So I'm going to start with this 20 times 7. Now that's a pretty big number. Isn't one of our flashbacks, right? So how do we multiply by multiples of 10? So if we do 20 times 7, what's that going to look like? This might be a little bit of review. You might have to look in the back part of your brain from a long time ago. So, in order to do this, all we really have to do is just kind of ignore that 0 for a second. And then what's 2 times 7? 14. So 14, and then we kind of just put that 0 back. So we ignored it for a second, and then we put it back in the answer. So 20 times 7 is 140. You could, if you want to double check your answer, count by 20s if you want. You could do 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, and 140. See? Works. So 20 times 7 is 140. And then we need to bring this second part of our problem down here as well. So 140 plus 55. Now I'm going to solve that over here to the side because it's easier to add when we can stack it up. So I've got 140 plus 55. I'm going to start at my ones place. 0 plus 5 is 5. 4 plus 5 is 9. And 1 plus nothing is 1. So, how many points did Carrie score? 195. Awesome. We did it, you guys. Well, I hope that you work really, really hard on your two-step word problems. And if they're tricky for you, just don't give up. Do your best. Read the problem more than once so that you really know what it's asking you, and make sure that you're looking for those clues that tell you what operations to do, whether it's multiplication, division, subtraction, or addition. All right, have a great day.